coolest song ever. I love that song. I particularly love how Eric dances when we're in I guess it'd be the green room.
You know what? You're starting to get into the dancing now. It's not just me popping and locking in there.
I know. It kind of rubbed off a little bit. So, well, anyway, welcome everybody to another episode of Indie Invasion Shorts. We'll wait just a few seconds to see if anybody joins in. Okay, that was quick. We got one person.
There you go. Hi guys. If you pop in, say hello into the chat.
Yes, please. And tonight, what are we gonna be chatting about tonight, Eric, in our little 30-minute short?
Well, this was an idea you came up with, and we are gonna talk about skirmish games versus board games, right?
I think so. That was
what we want to banter about this week.
Why not? Why not? Because, there are those ardent board game only people, and then you have your miniatures game people. You missed the dancing. You did miss the dancing, Mary. You did. But if you want, you can go in and sneak in behind your husband and watch him dance pre-show. What's happening, Todd? It's good to have you, buddy. So yeah, there's not I wouldn't say there's an argument between the miniatures games and the board games, but there's kind of a little bit of they kind of stay apart a little bit. And I know there's a lot of really cool games that try to cross over and you grab onto both of those fan bases. As a matter of fact, we just posted an interview with Dwight Cenac of High Noon that is doing one of those kind of crossover style games too. So that's kind of cool. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about. And in the comments, if you have any miniatures games or board games or anything that are your favorites or reasons why you think we should play them.
Yeah,
we're always looking for an excuse to have to buy a new game. I'm not entirely sure that an excuse is necessary.
I'm starting to run out of room in the house, being a board gamer and a skirmish game player.
I have a number of board games myself, but I will be perfectly honest. Most of the board games I have were bought expressly for the models. In fact, I've been on a binge the past few days of trying to knock out the rest of my Zombicide Invader. I guess they're not really zombies, the alien guys that come in Zombicide Invader. And I did, I'm batch painting them and I'm doing them real simple. But I think in the past 2 days, I've done like 32 of the zombie. But now you can shake your head, but they're really easy. I'm just doing a contrast paint, dry brush, and a little bit of color to pop, like maws and tongues.
I don't know if I can. I mean, I've been wanting to do that with my Zombicide board game minis just because I think it would enhance the gameplay.
Right.
But I don't know if I could batch paint them like that.
Look at that. That didn't take Raul long to throw up some minis we need to pick up, huh? Oh my God. Todd has over 300 board games. Wow. You sir are a junkie. Welcome to our support group.
Now, Todd used to live in my area, and he was one of my Wild West Exodus players, and then he moved to Texas. So if you had that many board games when you moved to Texas, and he did mention to me, he's talking about moving back up here.
Oh.
Ouch. I feel that pain.
Well, I don't know. Being in Texas, he's kind of in the perfect place to play Wild West Exodus now, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think everybody in Texas should play Wild West Exodus. But
so skirmish games, board games. Mac, which one are you? Which one do you prefer?
I would say I'm probably more of a miniatures gamer, and you guys throw what your preference is too. But that probably has more to do with the fact that a lot of board games are more fun with more than two people. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I hate to go here, but the monopolies and the risks and things like that, you want to get 3 or 4 people together to do that. And because we don't have a game store and our gaming community where I live is just kind of scattered, it's a little harder to get to coordinate all of that. But there are some board games that I really like. But like I said, mostly I'm a miniatures junkie because I have Zombicide and all the Zombicide Invader stuff. so that I can have the models to use.
All the candy lands.
All the candy lands. Yes. Okay. Todd,
they need to make that game into a skirmish type of game.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea.
You'd be all over it.
Then Invasion Skirmish Candyland. We need to make that happen.
Yeah.
We need to make that happen. Wait, I need to that's my here, hold on. Wait, I just trademarked that. Got back off. Todd just ended the show right there. We don't even need 30 minutes. Yes. That's it right there. The whole thing is solved right there. Yes. Absolutely. I agree with you. The answer is yes. What about you? What's your
So I think my journey into the hobby, I'm trying to think, really started years ago, like 10 years ago or something. I was getting heavily into board games. And a lot of that was the community aspect. You know, you're sitting around a table interacting. It's that interaction. And it's something I started with my son when he was at that age to kind of not only do something with him that wasn't video games or, you know, it was a little more, I could sit and talk to him and, you know, we can have fun. But to help him interact with other people, you know, it's not just a one-on-one. So that's one of the reasons I really got into board games.
Right.
But then again, other people, you know, before that, I was doing the skirmish games, which was a very solitary, calm down, you know, just me working on the minis, painting. It's the hobby aspect that I liked about the skirmish games.
Right.
So, and I don't know which one I prefer more because I go back and forth for those particular reasons. Now, in the last year, I haven't been able to do much of my board gaming because I used to go to our local game store on Monday nights. And I've met a lot of people in the board gaming community and made friends in the board gaming community. So that's, you know, one of the things I like about it. But that can also be said this right here in skirmish games. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for skirmish.
Yeah. Games. Wild West Exodus. Boom. There's another score for Wild West Exodus, right? And that's right. Well, and you know, I like both of them. That's the truth. Because with my kids, it's all about board games. I've got all kinds of little knick-knacky ones. I've found all kinds of little Kickstarters from different games. We got a cool one called Monster Dice. We've got Epic Monster Tea Party, which, look, if you have kids and you are looking for a game to play with them that will keep your attention as an adult, not like Candyland, then Epic Monster Tea Party is the game for you. It is awesome. You'll love it. But games like that, Kiwi 10, Formula D, those games, I love those games to play with my family. Well, there's another one too, Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. I don't know if you've played that one, but okay. So Raul said Imperial Assault was his gateway to painting minis. Yes,
I can see that. So now that's kind of like you talk about the blending of board games and mini games, where a lot of games, and you see a lot of it now, is they put the minis in the games, whether you look at all the cool mini or not games like the Zombicide. And one of my favorites of theirs is Rising Sun. I absolutely love that game.
Right.
Mechanics wise, it's a board game, but you have these beautiful sculpted minis on there that it's like, I want to paint them, but I'm also at the same time intimidated because it's like, what is that going to do to my board game then?
Right. Yeah, that's true. So Todd said BattleTech early 90s and 40K second edition. Me too. That's exactly where I started gatewaying into the skirmish stuff. Because before that, I mean, except for your typical ones as a kid for board games, I was Kerplunk, Monopoly, and that's a good game right there. And you know, typical games like that. Sorry, the regular. Just the regular board games. That was the extent of my board gaming. But then that first BattleTech box that came with all the minis, that's probably the same one Todd had. That one, that was, man, that thing was gold. And I hacked those miniatures up with some tester paint and some those big old fat white paint brushes that come with the models. Oh, yeah, I did a job on those. Yes, sir.
Kind of like these ones.
Oh no, that brush would probably do way better. You know the ones I'm talking about. They have the nylon bristles on them.
Yeah, and they just one use and they're like this, right?
Right out of the package, they're like that. You didn't even have to use them; they just come out like that. But yeah, Imperial Assault was definitely one of those. And really, whether you love or hate Zombicide, it was, I think, one of the games that really pushed that blended idea over the top to where people were starting to really see that. And it's so easy. It's such a good gateway game to get people.
Yeah, I was going to say that, the gateway game. It's one of those easy entry for anybody, whether it's your aunt, your mom, your cousin, your kids. And that was, a lot of those board games, I think that got me into it because they're easy to set up. It's one of the things I like about some board games, not all, because there's some that take like an hour to set up.
Yeah,
but those are you're talking your Euro games that are just, wooden pieces, and you're moving them to this place to that place to get some kind of benefit. Yeah,
because some of the board games I have zero interest in. And like I have a buddy in town who every, I don't know, 6 months or so, him and a bunch of his friends get together and set up a game of Twilight Imperium.
Oh,
yeah, right. He'll post at 9:00 and he'll say, "We just started," and at noon he says, "Turn 1 is over," and I'm like, "Oh man, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that." That was part of the reason that I don't play 40K anymore, is just I don't have that kind of time. Are you waving to everyone? There you are. You're refocused now.
I was getting everybody a high five.
There you go. So, so for me, the really long board games, I don't think it's really not. And I don't like the really long setup. And that's part of the reason we don't play Zombicide that often, is because I wouldn't say it's a really long setup, but it's longer.
You want the kind of board game that's the classic Monopoly board where you just lay it up, shuffle some cards up, go.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's something in my head that says, okay, if I'm playing a board game, I should be able to take it out of the box. Like, I didn't even like Mousetrap for the same reason. I'm like, I don't want to build this thing. I just want to put it out there and play it. But
did anybody ever play that game, or just build a trap?
Oh, my kids played it once.
Did they?
And then they lost the pieces.
Oh,
so
see, and that's probably a downside right there on some board games, is the pieces, especially if you have a lot of kids and stuff. And even if not, to organize that stuff, where you got like a lot of my board games, once you punch it out and all that, and get it out to play, it's like I got gazillion Ziploc bags full of pieces.
Yeah,
and then you got to organize it. And one trend in board games now is they're starting to put these like little trays in there to keep everything nice and organized, so you can just pull it out, open it, and good to go.
I love the MDF kits that they have that go in the boxes.
Yeah,
those things are awesome. Now, I've never bought one, but my buddy that does the Twilight Imperium, Joe, which incidentally, plug for him, he'll be selling about 4 bajillion board games.
I bought some from him last year
at Postal Con this year, so he'll have 4 bajillion, give or take.
I had to hold myself back being a board gamer.
Yeah, right. But he gave me a copy of Blood Rage, and
it's a good game.
Well, and it came with all of the MDF stuff in the box.
Nice.
Yes, and that's first I had actually had one, and they are really cool. Raul says, "Yep, I know what you're talking about there, Raul. You're talking about Mousetrap, early terrain for children. That is a true statement." Yes, Hero Quest. That was definitely an early one, and I kind of feel like Space Hulk was too a little bit.
Yes, I think so too. It had like that board as you go type of element.
Yeah,
with the miniatures, but yet a lot of the mechanics were, I don't want to say basic, but straightforward enough, like a board game, that you got that feel. And there's quite a few games like that out that have that, like I said, I don't want to say simplicity, but that straightforwardness.
Yeah.
For a miniatures game, like Brimstone's.
Yeah, Shadows
of Brimstones would be a good crossover game.
Yeah, because that did a lot of the same thing. And again, we just talked about High Noon the other day, and that's doing the same thing. Which, incidentally, the thing that I really liked that he mentioned was that the posses that you'll buy with his game was that each one comes with its own tile, and I thought that was kind of a neat concept.
Gives variety to your setup then.
Yeah, that you're bringing, if you're bringing the gambler, you're bringing whatever he brings to the table, or the rancher, whatever it is. Yeah, Bob, I'm with you. Model figures and terrain all day long. Yeah.
Yes. That was a pretty neat reboot. They kind of, what do you want to call it? They really pushed that miniature aspect of the reboot.
Yeah, they really did. Did you get in the Hero Quest? I didn't either, man. And I was
you know what? I kicked myself because I kind of forgot about it the last minute. I was just like the day before. I was like, okay, I got to decide if I want to jump in.
I bet Raul.
And then I was busy that day, and man,
yeah.
Oh well.
I didn't really. Now I also remember Talisman, and it was even left. Yeah, but it was pretty pricey.
That was what was holding me back. Because you got to think about some of these, like whether it's a board game or a miniature game, price wise. Is it something of value to me? Am I going to get it to the table to play enough?
Right.
And that's where I think a big difference between our board games and skirmish games is that, and we haven't touched on this a little bit with the skirmish game, it can be a solo experience. You know, you can get a skirmish game. Like, I don't know how many years I worked on Warhammer stuff by myself. I got it just for the modeling, the hobby aspect, and the paint. I didn't care if I ever played the game. I was enjoying just the models.
Right. Absolutely. So, Todd, you mentioned that you can check out, they have a YouTube channel for High Noon. They have not gone to Kickstarter yet. They're super close to going. So you can check that out there. And actually, Bob makes a really good point about that thank you for making me feel good, Bob, about not backing Hero Quest. The gameplay is 30 years old. They didn't.
Yeah, I don't think they tweaked much about it.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point. Thank you, Bob. I feel so much better. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm waiting for him to reboot Atmosphere then. Board game.
Yeah, so that's another thing too. Bob, you're just making good points. Maybe we should have just had Bob come on.
We should have had Bob come on.
Right? Yeah, solo is huge. Now, I didn't know that there were solo rules for Legion.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I know my son, my oldest son, is playing. He's doing a lot of Legion stuff, posting a lot of stuff in our Beaufort Tabletop Gaming and Coastal Con Facebook group, and he's really into Legion. I played it one time with him, and I liked it. Don't mishear me. I liked the rules and everything, but the scale was a little larger than I want to play. I've reduced myself down to pretty much, if I have more than 5 or 6 models on the table,
pretty soon you're going to be playing with one.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to do one. I'm trying to get an RPG group going here. So that would be just one. I'd just have one, except I'd be running it, so I'd be everybody else. But that's
he says he's got you covered, Bob.
Yeah.
That's community right there.
Right there. That is crossing all the boundaries. That's board game community. That's the skirmish community. Heck, we'll even invite you big war gamers in here. You know who I'm talking about, because I was an orc player, so I know what it means to take an hour and a half to just set up your army.
Yeah.
I remember those days. And the thing is when I was actively playing 40K, doggone it, I was happy to spend an hour and a half setting up all those orcs. Worst part about being an orc player then was pulling all of the spiky bits out of your foam.
Yeah.
So many spiky bits. So, well, since Bob's here, Bob, okay, are you still playing Dungeons and Dragons Attack Wing? I gotta know.
Yeah, he was a big player with that, and I know his kids were really big into that.
Yeah, so I still have it, and my kids like to play. My almost 11-year-old, he's the one that mostly likes to play that stuff. He likes playing Wings of Glory. He'll throw Star Trek Attack Wing on the table with me, or Battlestar Galactica, but that's a little bit more complicated.
No X-Wing?
I don't have any.
No?
I don't have it. I gave my X-Wing stuff to Nate because when they rebooted to 2.0, I was like, I think I got a little burned out by the way because with all the cards that came out, it became
it had that power creep kind of thing.
Yeah, and it felt more like deck building than flying.
Yeah.
So, but whatever. But those are all good games. But they're kind of they've fallen. Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing has fallen off. It's no longer in production. But though it seems like those crossover games, they don't seem to impact the big war game communities. And what I mean by that is like the 40K army players, the big historical battles, because you can't really translate those down. I don't think. Maybe somebody out there has created a game that you did. That would be awesome. But has translated down from that big of a scale to a board game-esque kind of feel. But it's a little easier to cross over that skirmish feel. Just like in the Drowned Earth Kickstarter that finished just a little while ago with the Chronicles of Elia, that's that concept too. It's introducing a board game-ish concept into that game, but that one's crossing over for its own game, so the information crosses over to both games. So eventually the skirmish stuff can be used in the board game, and the board game can be used in the skirmish stuff, which is pretty cool. Just normal D&D for Bob and the kids. Well, see, we need to get a group together. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop messing around. I really don't want to do an over the internet group, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I might just have to.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? That's still for something like that, or I've seen it done with board games. It's probably a little bit easier than the miniatures game.
Yeah.
Still trying to wrap my head around how people do that over Zoom, but people are doing it.
I think a lot of people are using Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
And I was messing around with that today. So the Command and Colors series emulates historical at board game level. Memoir 44 I've looked at. Haven't played, but yeah, that's right. See, that's what I mean. There's just so much stuff out there. It's like we are as rotten as humanly possible.
Well, and I've heard people say that, like, right now in this time and age of, our hobby is kind of, they say it's the golden age. I always hear the golden age of board gaming. And I think just in general, a gaming hobby, whether it's board games, miniatures, game, RPG, we are kind of in a big time for that, because it's almost like it's become mainstream in a way.
But are you saying Are you saying you've already forgotten the days of being the D&D nerd?
Oh man, yeah, I remember riding my bike. I don't know how many miles to go to the nerd store to look at the new Car Wars pocket box.
I didn't even have a nerd store to go to, man. We had a bookstore. And you occasionally get some D&D stuff in there, and that was the extent of it, man. There was nothing. When I really got into the miniatures, just like Todd in the early '90s, I was stationed in California, so that was when the wheels came off, man, and the addiction seriously began, because I don't even want to show everybody out there all my painted miniatures. I don't even forget about the unpainted ones. I'm just talking about the painted ones, because I was at about 3 weeks ago, which this number has drastically changed already in the past 3 weeks by at least 100 models. Is my 10-year-old decided he would count my painted models that were up on the shelf, and he got 1,446. And I told him, I said, you didn't count all the Zombicide zombies and the Zombicide Invader stuff that's painted, that's in boxes. He goes, I'm not counting those. So Mike has joined us. What's happening?
Hello, Mike.
Star Wars. Yeah. 14 hours to move 1 inch on the table in the old Car Wars.
Yeah.
But we all loved it. Every single one of us loved it. That speaks into skirmish games, and this has just been kind of a ramble about what we like in those genres. The Gaslands did a great job of picking up the Car Wars-esque battle, you know?
Yeah, they did. And I mean, there is a new edition of Car Wars coming out that is more that skirmish, like almost the impression I get from it is X-Wing. You know, that
you're saying 6 hours to move.
We'll see whenever it shows up, because you know me and
I know you did that one. I know you did that. So what's your I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's your favorite board game?
Oh, you know what? I thought
this is what we do to interviewers.
Yeah, it is. And I thought
only fair
today that maybe me and you should come up with not our top, but just, you know, 5 of them that we like. And I don't know if I can name one. Well, actually, I think I can, because
three. Give me 3 board games. 3 board games.
Because I kind of already mentioned one that I absolutely love, even though I haven't played in a while. But
we got one thrown up there.
Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven. I haven't heard of that one, but okay. And the correction, Gloomhaven. We knew what you meant, Bob.
Yeah. Rising Sun was one I brought up earlier today. That it's a CMON game, excellent miniatures, but it has that board game aspect. And that's along the lines of their Blood Rage, and they have a new one coming out they're calling it the trilogy of that game. That's Egyptian theme, Ankh. Yeah. So I'm excited about that one coming out. So I think Rising Sun board game wise is one that I like. I like Fury of Dracula, which is kind of one versus many.
Yep.
And Dracula's hiding. He's moving around, doing his stuff, trying to get his victory. And you as the hunters are trying to track him down on this big map of Europe. That's a lot of fun. Let's see, what's another one? Then I'd like a lot of your quick ones. Like I mentioned previously, we were talking about board games. Disney's Villainous. It's kind of a quick, easy setup, fun family game. You know, everybody knows Disney. So it's like you have that, you know, you're familiar with it. Those are 3 right there, I guess, for board games.
Right.
So I know what yours are.
For board games, Candyland, man.
Candyland Special Edition.
That's right. Candyland Risk. No. My favorite, and this mostly because I play board games with my kids.
Yeah.
Formula D. I love playing Formula D with the kids.
I have yet to play that yet.
They can't drive worth a darn, and I have to cut them slack or their car will blow up in the first turn, because once they hit 5th gear and they get to roll that 30-sided dice, they don't care. They're like, I'm not downshifting. I know I'm supposed to turn full time. I'm gonna do what I want. So I don't usually win that one. And then the other one is with them is Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. That one's a blast, and it's very kid oriented. You going around picking up these little gems in rooms, and there's ghosts you have to defeat. Real simple. And Epic Monster Tea Party. I already said that one. That one's just a blast. All right. So as we come towards the end, 3 skirmish games. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, because one of the ones that I really like is the Shadespire game. I get my taste of board game and miniatures game. Skirmish games, though.
Bob put Kings of Tokyo up there. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I have 4.
That's actually one I first played with Bob. So
that's the one you sent me for the kids.
Yep. But I'd be wrong if I didn't say my favorite. Is it a skirmish game? Wild West Exodus?
It used to be.
I mean, I feel bad if I didn't throw that in there.
I think it used to be. I think it's got a little bigger.
Yeah. It depends how. It's one of those games that you can build your forces as big as you want. So then
that's true.
That kind of affects how, you know, if it's an army game or a skirmish game. Trying to think of favorite skirmish games, huh? So I said 2.
I saw that one coming right there from Mike. Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, we were talking about that a lot.
Coming.
I'm looking at my shelves.
Man, Bob is typing up a storm, man. Underworlds.
Yeah, I played Underworlds with him. Yeah, I think he likes that one a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about a lot of skirmish games like Retro Raygun, Twilight. You know,
I should have went first. Don't stop.
Okay. I mean, because for me, it's I I can't nail it down to 3. I can say 2 for sure, but I can't nail down a third.
Give me the 2. Wild
So
West
it would just be that Underworlds and my Wild West Exodus.
Okay.
I mean, those are my favorite ones. And Underworlds, because of it's kind of a board game.
Yeah.
But it gives me that, the Warhammer taste of, their world, which I've always liked. So.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm pretty easy. For me, it's the Drowned Earth, Twisted, and for a long time it's been Deep Wars and Shadow Seas.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm waiting for there's supposed to be some rules changes, and I'm waiting to see. I may or may not know what the rules changes already are, maybe, but I'm just waiting to see how it all plays out.
Because there's a lot of. Go ahead, finish.
Well, I mean, I can't stop at 3, man. Like you said, Twilight. That's why I said la 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 la, because you're giving me ideas.
I'm looking at all these examples everybody's given us.
Like
Bob said, Outer Rim, excellent board game. I loved it. I think I played it 4 times in a week when I first discovered that one.
Yeah. Well, then you got Betrayal.
There's some good ones. Yeah, Betrayal. Chronicles of Crime, great game. Yeah. Touch of Evil, that's a good one. Yeah, and we mentioned Shadows of Brimstone, which is kind of a crossover one.
Kill Team,
skirmish game.
I'm not as much a fan as Kill Team, but Mike also threw up there Warcry. Now, I haven't played Warcry yet, but when I was down at Discover Games just recently, I really liked the way it looked and the way it appeared to play.
And they're really expanding out on that one with introducing more of the Warhammer world factions into it.
Yeah. Now, that one right there, Raul just threw up Endure the Stars. If you guys haven't checked that one out, that is a cool game. It has some super amazing mechanics in it. The minis are really cool too. Again, big reason I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
It has cool space monster mini.
There's a hot one Todd brought up.
Yep. Stargrave. And the nice thing about Stargrave is I have things like Endure the Stars, Core Space, Zombicide Invader. I've got all this stuff to use in that in a game like that, which is what Star Breach is great about as well. But I'm familiar with Perilous Tales. But the Warcry, it looked appealing. Like you said, they were bringing so much.
It's piqued my interest too. It's one of those things like we were talking about those step ups, and we've talked about this the other day. Games Workshop is totally doing it, where they introduce you to the mini games with the underworlds. Just your small war band, and then you go to Warcry, and then full-fledged army.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way to get somebody into that kind of hobby. You're kind of familiar with the board game, but here's a little bit of miniatures, and then you can expand it out. And the more you get, it's like, well, I can use what I already had here, or vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. And Todd, as you're waiting for Stargrave, I would encourage you to check out Star Breach, which has been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it is free to download from Star Breach. I believe it's starbreach.com, but you can just Google it. But it's very similar in that regard, that it's sort of an open world where you just use whatever models that you have. The plus side being that the rules download is free. The guy that created the game has always had it free. You can purchase a book, but it's not necessary. You can get it, and it uses dice similar to Bolt Action. I think we mentioned that at some point somewhere. It might have been in the actual podcast, but yeah. So
I want to bust his chops. Didn't you do that with X-Wing too, Bob?
Oh no. Oh no. So now that's a good point, Mike, that it was designed. And I think no matter what anybody says, Games Workshop does a great job as a company, as a business, of working all that stuff. I'll tell you, the only thing I am not a fan of, the Age of Sigmar versus the old Warhammer Fantasy Battles world. I like the old world. That's just me. So I can't help it. As a matter of fact, I was in the bookstore the other day, and they had a new Gotrek book of Gotrek, and for those that know GW and Fantasy Battles, Gotrek and Felix, the series that was written, and and there was no Felix in this new Age of
weird.
Trek book. Yeah, I was reading the back of it, and I'm like, this doesn't say Felix on it anywhere. I'm like, what's going on?
Pulled out this oldie.
Is that even open?
Yeah, it's open.
Is it built?
It's half built. I got all my odds in it.
Oh, dude, what is that? That's like 1974, isn't it?
I got my odd blisters in there, and I've been kind of going through some of the older stuff I have. I put together a vampire earlier today.
Nice. So. Yeah, Necromunda, Mike, I loved the original Necromunda. Man, that was so good. And I actually do have, my son bought me an Orlok gang, and I've got them put together, but that's all I've got. You live 20 minutes from the warehouse, and the salesmen are worse than used car salesmen.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me about a week or so ago, and I was like, yeah, that's why I kind of don't go to those stores anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how they are, because to be honest, I've never been in a Games Workshop store. Never. But the truth is, man, they paved the way. I don't play any GW games anymore. I do have Beastgrave, but you can't fault them, man. They paved the road. The reason we have a golden age of gaming is because of everything that Games Workshop did, good or bad, over the years to get gaming to the point that it is right now. All right, Bob, you're going to be our last official. Oh, I thought you were, and then Todd posted something.
These guys are going nuts tonight.
Nuts. Those two right there, everything that last handful right there, and I saw that one too. Raul threw up Journey, Wrath of Demons. I played that with him once, and that was pretty cool too. But Bob said Mordheim, loved Mordheim. Still have a couple of my miniatures, just a couple that I can scrape up. And Gorka Morka. Gorka Morka was the dumbest game because it was all orcs and diggas, but it was awesome because everything you wanted about an orc was them flying around wide open. So, all right, we have gone too far because we were talking about everything. This was like a flash.
Yeah, this was probably Open the Floodgates episode.
Right?
Board games and miniatures games. And
oh, man, maybe one.
If you guys have more suggestions for either one of those, go ahead and make a comment. Like when this video goes up on Facebook, keep posting in it. You guys can leave comments in there, and we get notification of them, and we can comment on them and keep up the conversation in that, and just like the chat part. So,
and then send Eric and I to eBay. That's the only downside. So
yeah, I've been on eBay this week looking for old dystopian wars, and I
was looking for Man of War again.
Yeah, that too.
What am I gonna do? But anyway, guys, as we're winding down here, don't forget this will be up tomorrow on Podbean, and you can check out the podcast at Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iTunes, whole bunch of other places. You just gotta look for it. It is out there in the internet universe. Also, don't forget that Coastal Con is coming up. Coastal Con 2021 is February 26th and 27th in Beaufort, South Carolina. If you can be here, we would love to have you. For anybody that's worried, we'll be doing masks and hand sanitizer and distancing and everything. So good to go there. You can go to the website and check out kind of what we have going on. You can find a bunch of the links there as well. You can always email us at indieinvasion@gmail.com. And you can get us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. We're actually over on Rumble now too. Not getting a lot of traction over there, but hey, it's a brand new platform, so we're trying to
even Discord's kind of new, and we're trying to get that going so you guys can, interact and have the conversation in there. Like tonight would be a perfect place to continue that in Discord. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you're not in the Discord, there's also a link on the website for the Discord. You can find pretty much all of our links on the Discord somewhere. If you can't find them there, they're on the Facebook page for Indie Invasion. But we love talking with you guys.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that one. You do that one.
Okay. And if you guys like what we're doing and want to support us a little bit, you can go to Patreon, but feel free just to check us out on Patreon. We have content up on there that is free to everybody to view. There, you don't have to pay to view. There's a couple exclusive stuff that are just hosted there, but watch it, enjoy it. And then if you like it so much that you want to help us, give us your pennies, They'll help Mac get some fancy new headphones.
Yes, pennies. We
would appreciate it. And you could get perks there, like coffee mugs or face trays,
and you can always get merchandise through Unipolar Games. We have T-shirts, we have dice trays. You can buy a coffee cup if you want to. I'm pretty sure if you really wanted an Indie Invasion hat, that
it could be done.
AJ would make it for you. But why don't you take us out, sir?
All right, and you guys, when you're out there playing your board games or your skirmish games, remember, prepare yourself for the invasion.